Welcome back, everyone. We hope that you enjoyed the video. It's a model that we hope to use in the future as well. So we're interested also, if you have any feedback about the video, we would love to hear it. So we're interested. While I'm going to do just a quick summary of the video, and while we're doing that, feel free to chat in any questions that you have regarding these services. So let me start with, in community services applies to OASIS certified 822 clinic. In community services is not the same as home and community-based services. So just to put this in a context. In community services is an opportunity for a clinic provider to go out into the community, into another location, and deliver any of the services that are billable within the walls of their clinic, outside the walls of their clinic. So some examples that came up in the video included in-reach to other levels of care, and that can be utilized to bring people back to the clinic, securing those linkages. Using in-community services to integrate with another service provider, such as a primary care provider. In-community services can also be used to go out into the community to re-engage clients that may be on the verge of being lost to care. So there's a lot of creativity within in-community services, and the intent is to expand the reach of your clinic, to secure linkages, and to improve access and engagement within your clinic. At this point, we have a few questions, and so I'm going to, Ileana, I think that you're ready to answer one or two?
Yeah, hi. I just wanted to clarify that the type of billing that we're talking about is being done by the OASIS certified Part 822 clinics when they're delivering services primarily to Medicaid managed care enrollees, and the programs would be submitting those claims to the plan. Any Medicaid fee-for-service billing would be very, very limited and would only be for individuals who are receiving services at an OASIS certified Part 822 clinic and are not otherwise enrolled in a plan. So I just wanted to make sure we made that clear. And just give us a moment while we just scroll through some of the other questions just to make sure that we are able to address some of them.
So we have a question about peer certification. And yes, I would like to include that, yes, peers can be a part of this. For peer certification, I know that Ileana and I are not experts on that, so I would refer you back to the OASIS website for more information on peer certification. I also want to take a minute to review a little bit about something that we emphasized towards the end of the video, which is there's a lot of planning involved in these services. So in order for you to move ahead with implementing these services, you really need to first think through, how do you want to use them? What would be the workflow? What are the documentation issues? How will the billing workflow work on this? There's how does security work, safety, what are your policies and procedures around going into the community? So although this is a wonderful opportunity, it does take some time and resources to get ready to do it.
Okay, we got a question from someone asking that if a counselor goes to a recreation center and tries to engage a client, what procedure code or service code would the clinic use to bill for this session? So again, the coding and the claiming for services that are delivered in the community are the same coding and claiming that the Part 822 clinics are currently using to submit claims. So in this example, I'm going to expand a little bit on the question. The assumption is that the counselor has gone to the recreation center to engage a client that had previously been received services within the 822. So we'll make, in this example, it's an individual brief counseling session with that particular individual. The program would use the same codes that they would normally use when they're providing those services on site at the Part 822. So again, the coding and claiming is the same as if you were delivering the services on site at the OASIS Certified Part 822 clinic or opioid treatment program.
I also want to bring up another point on these services. So we have heard some questions regarding the need for a client to be enrolled in the clinic and whether or not assessment can be done in the community. So, Ileana, jump in with me if I get this wrong in any way. Assessment is a billable service within the clinic. Therefore, you can do an assessment in the community. Ileana, is there any clarification on that?
And it would be the same concept as if you were seeing someone on site at the OASIS Certified Program and you are doing the assessment for the purposes of determining admission to the program. That would be the same type of assessment service that would be delivered within the community using the same assessment codes underneath the OASIS regulations that apply to when you're delivering assessment services to someone for the purposes of admission into a Part 822. So our break here for the moment is we're just giving folks a couple more minutes to submit any more questions they have. So we'd encourage people to do that. We have a question regarding how these services are documented and incorporated into the treatment plan. Take-home point is the documentation requirements would generally be the same as what you would be doing when you provide services within the four walls of the community. Additionally, you would also want to identify the clinical or peer staff member who delivered the service and the setting in which it was delivered. One of the things I would like to emphasize is if you have not already taken a look at the online guidance document that OASIS previously released regarding services in the community, many of the pieces that we touched on today, both in the recording session and throughout the Q&A, for example, the documentation question, are also incorporated into that guidance document. So as you walk away from today's session and you're looking to have something that you can share with other staff members within your program as you start to think about the opportunities of service in community, the combination of that guidance document plus today's video is a nice launching point to start the conversations within your program.
Ileana, that's a great idea, and I also would like to emphasize again something that I said at the beginning of this webinar, which is that this entire webinar will be available, will be archived on the MCTAC website. With that will also be the slide deck from which the video was produced as a standalone item. And in that slide deck are links to the guidance documents. Also in the slide deck, and not in the video, but in the slide deck, there's also reference to our intention to build out a learning module following this webinar. So you will hear more about that. This will be an opportunity for people to come together and talk through some of the implementation details of in-community services. We have a question: could a staff member qualified appropriately be, quote, embedded as needed in a primary care and or mental health clinic to facilitate the warm handoffs to treatment identified in either of those venues? The answer to that question is yes. So one of the hopes of in-community services is that providers use these services to further efforts in integration, so that a provider could certainly place off-site one of their staff persons at a mental health clinic, at a primary care site, in which that person then addresses the SUD issues related to that site's population.
We also had a question regarding when would you apply for a satellite license So we have a two-part question. And when would you just use HCBS billing? So I'm going to answer it backwards. The services that we're talking about today are not the HCBS services. These are services that are delivered by the OASAS Certified 822 clinic to all individuals who are either in a mainstream Medicaid managed care plan or the HARP line of business. So this is not HCBS services. So I just want to make that distinction. And then generally programs would not need to do any additional certification in order to deliver these services in the community. The reason why I say generally is there has been discussion if a program holds a lease that actually controls a particular setting, location, like a particular square footage within a setting, then that would require discussion about a satellite location. But in the main, it is not expected that you need additional satellite certification for this. It can be doable underneath your existing operating certificate. And if you just hold one moment while we continue to scroll through additional questions. Thank you.
We have a question about, do you need to, or how would you incorporate peer support since it is on an as-needed basis? So you're right in that that's an item in which thinking through the details and doing your homework before you launch these services would be critical. So how would you support a peer role that would be used in the community as needed? What else would you do? How else would their time be structured? How would that get incorporated in? That's not really a question that Ileana and I could necessarily answer. I can redirect you, though, to think about, to take the time to work through with your staff how that might work. And perhaps in the learning module to come, that's an issue that could come up for you and your broader group of colleagues to sort through together.
We just received a question generally asking how the individuals that are, the individuals that are associated with the 822 clinic, how the clinic gets paid for those services. The clinic would be submitting the claim to the Medicaid managed care company for which that person is an enrollee.
We got one more, which is, when will 822s be able to launch and bill for services in the community?
The ability to do that is currently associated with when the services, the behavioral health services, are integrated into the Medicaid managed care benefit package. So in New York City, the services got integrated into the benefit package effective October 1, and in rest of state, we go live with managed care implementation July 1st. So statewide, everybody will have the opportunity effective July 1. In New York City, it's already taking place. And again, because the authority right now to do this is through the 1115 waiver, which is what is bringing all the behavioral health services into the managed care benefit package, that's why it's associated to the dates that those services get brought into the Medicaid managed care plans. And just give us one more moment.
We're pausing for another moment.
So again, for folks on the line, thanks for your patience. We're just giving people an opportunity, if they're sort of having a sidebar conference, if there's any additional questions that they're looking to submit. Thank you for your patience.
We have one more.
This discussion today is only related to OASAS certified programs. We are not speaking to OMH. If you're looking to reach out to a client or a service recipient that is not already enrolled in your clinic and is looking to be enrolled, again, the assumption is that that would be an assessment service, just as if you were assessing the individual for admission on site at the OASAS certified clinic.
I'm going to take that answer one step further. Ileana, rein me in if I get this wrong in any way. So the issue around assessment versus screening, In-community services can be used for assessment. If someone is referred to the clinic and you're going to go out into the community and do that assessment, fabulous. If you decide to send one of your staff to a health fair and screen everybody that walks up to your vendor table for the possibility of a substance use disorder, that is not something that can be billed for under in-community services. So I hope that clarifies some of the differences.
Thank you for your patience as we continue to scroll through questions.
We got a question, how would you incorporate peer support in a treatment plan if it is on an as-needed basis? So my question would be, how would you do that now? So if you have a service that's as needed, in-community services would not be documented any differently than a service that's delivered in the clinic. So the fact that it's in the community doesn't need to be reflected in a unique and special way in a treatment plan. The fact that it is delivered in the community should be reflected, though, in the progress note. Do we have any other questions? All right, then. I think that we're going to wrap this up. Ileana?
Yeah, no, great. Thank you so much for listening today. Thank you for submitting your questions.
Yeah, this was terrific. And please stay tuned. There will be more to come from CASA MCTAC regarding learning opportunities around in-community services. And again, all of this will be archived on the MCTAC website. Please look out for an announcement about when that's available. Thank you again for your time, and enjoy the rest of your day.